Good morning. It's 9 a.m. I know, gay people and it's 9 a.m. What the hell? But this is something new. I'm going to talk about LGBTQ plus stuff and get our week started right. So grab a cup of Joe. Rocky Mountain. Delicious. I love me some Joe. Maybe not the way you boys do, but you know what I'm talking about. We've got some things to talk about. It's going to be a great week.
Gay boys, hashtag that girl. Sunbeams, drag queens, L-word. Is that girl the girl of all our dreams? She's everything that every girl should be. Aqua, South Beach, hashtag that girl. Pride-filled, tea-dance, Wilton. Is that girl Latina, but she's universal too? If you find a girl to love, only one girl to love, then she'll be that girl too. That girl.
Good morning, LGBTQ plus South Florida. This is the first gay weekly morning TV show in the world, and I'm FayWhat. I'm all about our community, and I want to talk about our interesting world. We have people to meet, we have events to attend, and it's time to plan out our week. You may have noticed I'm a girl. We call it a lesbian. And you may have also noticed that we don't rule the gay boy world. Yet, I'm working on it. That's okay though, because I'm a gay boy too. So as the FayWhat show develops, you are going to agree with me. Everyone in the L, the G, the B, the T, and the Q community, well, we have more in common than the things that separate us. I'll be here with special friends every Monday at 9 a.m. sharp to start your week off right. And I'll be inviting other special guests and friends to make our time together lots of fun. Next, gay boys. I am one of those lesbians that I just adore my gay boys. I can't live without them. But let's face it, this is an LGBTQ plus show at 9 in the morning. They're asleep. So if I want the gay boy perspective, I have to go where they're at this time of the morning. This segment is called Gay Boys Sleep Late. Where else to fish for them than while they're still in bed? This morning, we're joined by my guy pal, model, performer. You know him. You comment on him. You like his posts. His name is Damien Lenore. You can find him on Instagram at Return of Babylon. So let's get in bed with Damien as gay boys sleep late. Good morning, Damien.
Good morning,
Buenos
Faye.
dias. Good? Just like you like it? Yeah.
Delicious. Thank you.
Thank goodness that you have that Nespresso thing, because I can't make coffee for anything. You just put the cup in, you press a button, and it's done. It's perfect every time.
Like, as long as it's like sludgy and dark, I'm happy.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? It's like my first AA meetings, like that coffee in those rooms, like you can chew
Oh, absolutely.
on the coffee, but it helped you stay sober. It
the
was
little
creepy.
chunks of the powdered creamer inside. Yeah.
Ew.
And the spoon that everybody's been, very nice.
Yeah, that was
But I love it.
pre-COVID, but we loved it, right? So, Damien, there's a lot of interesting things that we're all talking about this week in the LGBTQ plus community. Let's cheeky on some of them right now. Cool?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. So one of our favorite people, Lil Nas X, he opened up on Twitter recently that he had brought his family to a gay bar. He talked about how it felt like a release of the stress that he had held since he was 13 to finally see his family fully accepting him and unlearning their homophobia. Kiki numero uno. Lil Nas X brought his straight family to a gay bar. Have you ever done that? What are we all talking about? What do you think?
I think that's awesome.
Right?
That's awesome. It's nice to see somebody being supported.
You know, and for the most part, like, we're gay, and for the most part, we keep that part of our world away from our straight family and friends, right? It's not like a hidden thing. It's just kind of separate. It's kind of like, we don't want to make anybody feel any certain kind of way, even though we have to live in a straight world all the time, right? But to show them a little glimpse of our world and not think that it's complete and total debauchery and sex everywhere, like the stereotype of our community,
But I feel like sometimes it's them, but sometimes it's us.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I came out to my mom first, and I waited to come out to my dad. I was like, oh, it's my dad. You see in the movies, oh, the dad is always the one who has a problem with it, whatever. And I waited probably 2 or 3 years before I came out to him. He was like, yeah, I know.
So I knew that.
Literally, I know. And it's like, in my head, I had all these things of like, oh, he's going to have a hard time with it because he's a dad and blah, 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 whatever. And he had it was easier with him than it was with my mom.
Right. Sometimes we automatically think the worst.
Yeah.
And it's not always that way. All the stories don't have to have that crying ending. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And what I love about this, and that I have to totally agree, Lil Nas X's brother, he tweeted like soon after, he said that he had a great time at the gay bar and that he actually had more fun at the gay bar than he's had at some straight places.
I mean, we do play better music.
We do. I'm sorry, straight people, but we really do. We do play
music.
way better music.
I brought my brother when he first moved here from California, like the day he got here, he dropped his stuff off at my grandma's house. He was staying with my grandma at first. And I'm like, come to my show tonight. And dropped his stuff off, came with me to my show. His first night in Florida. I think he went to I think there were two that night. There was one in Fort Lauderdale and one in Miami, and he came the whole time. He had an awesome time.
But you didn't even start slow, Damien. You just kind of like forced him into it. He just got off the plane and you're going into Gayville, USA. Sorry, buddy.
Listen, sink or swim.
But I'm glad that it worked out, though. Like,
Yeah, he had a good time.
I've taken. I read a story the other day that Queen Latifah had taken Tupac to his first gay bar. Can you just envision that? Like, how dope sauce is that? And then he had a fabulous time. You
They
know,
must have been all over him too, because
Oh,
he was
God,
gorgeous.
He was gorgeous. You know, Queen Latifah sent me a bottle of champagne many years ago.
Work.
Yeah,
She's gorgeous too.
she is a
She
cutie,
really
right?
is.
And I love that she's just so gay. Like, she can't
Absolutely.
hide it for all those years that it was like, come on, girl, come on, Queen La, UNITY. Next, a video went viral on TikTok this weekend as a drag queen at an event with a line of kids following her as she performed Applause by Lady Gaga. This was part of a fundraiser for the Dell's Children Hospital called Rock the Park, put on by KUTX 98.9 every few months. They invite entertainers from all parts of the community, including drag queens, to raise money for the kids. This is happening as the governor of Texas is trying to ban kids from being around drag queens. Kiki number 2, did you really think you could mess with our drag queens? Texas drag queen celebrates with kids. What are we all talking about?
I mean, obviously, I think that's awesome. And punk. That's really, really punk to do that. To be like, you know what?
Like, this whole
doing it.
state is attacking drag queens and even attacking parents at this point.
Yeah.
Because what were you telling me beforehand? That
So the way I'm thinking about this right now is like, it's somehow super problematic and child abuse to bring a kid to a drag show. And there are drag shows that are for adults.
yes, and there's some drag shows that are 21 and over,
Yeah.
and they specify that, and there's no kids there.
But there's some everything that's for adults.
Yeah.
And you'll see, you know, like say a kid really likes a musician that has super vulgar lyrics or violent lyrics. You know, not saying that there's anything wrong with vulgar lyrics or violent lyrics or whatever. I mean, like, I love
You're free to
rock
express
music.
yourself however you want to.
But it's not child abuse to bring a kid to a concert where they can learn all of these like super X-rated sexual things and violent things. That's not child abuse. It's okay for the kids to learn all the words to their songs that have all of these, you know,
Bad words or
references in
whatever.
them, etc. But because it's a drag show, oh, that's child abuse. That's child abuse. So what is it like? Is it they're opposed to sexuality? That can't be it, because sexuality isn't part of every drag show.
Yeah.
And sexuality isn't part of everything that's related to our community.
No, it's not. I mean, and they make it seem so stereotypical, like we said in the last story, that like everywhere we go, everywhere we breathe, we're effing. You know, like
No.
we're, you know, constantly sexualizing everything. And that's not really all our community is about.
There's so much more to our communities than
So
that.
much more. I can't, you know, we interviewed Misty Eyes 2 weeks ago, and she's just an incredible drag queen, and she's an icon. And if you can go back and watch the interview, please do so. I have seen her at Prides with a big, beautiful dress, right? Reading a story to 50 kids, and the kids are enamored by her and the story. Nothing sexual about that. There's not
No.
even an inkling of sexuality in there at all, Damien.
Not at all.
You know, Hooters is just dripping with sexuality. Okay. I've gone to a Hooters where it's a kid's birthday. The kid can't be more than 8 or 9. They've taken the kid, blown up balloons to look like breasts, put the balloons in the boy's shirt to make him pretend to have breasts. Okay. And then the girls will dance around him.
That's drag, mama.
That's That's sexualizing.
He's putting on some tits and he's going to work it at Hooters. Absolutely. He wants some tits,
wear those
baby.
short shorts and that's
Absolutely.
it. You know, but no one's going against Hooters for sexualizing women and have been for millions of years at this point. But because it's just not, because it's, you know, here it is. At the end of the day, it's an election year. Midterms are coming. People want to be governor. People want to be president soon. And they are stopping at nothing to silence us. And they're going after drag queens.
So we're going back to like puritanical early
times. Yeah.
It's wild.
Like Laura Ingalls times.
It's Pride Month, you know, and as all of these things are happening, I'm thinking about the Pride things that I've been involved with my mom for the past couple of years. And she has had to rework numbers. She has had to, I mean, even talk to me about like, you're going to be in this Pride number. You can't be doing your G-string stuff because there's going to be kids. You know, when
she's always very aware of that.
Very, 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 very aware.
And takes it very seriously. Like Velvet don't play, which is why she's got all those damn crowns.
But that's also a lot of performers understand like, okay,
the responsibility that they have.
And it's a big responsibility because people are seeing you up on a stage, you know, whether you're a drag queen or a dancer or a performer or whatever you're doing, people are seeing you. You know, if there's kids in the audience, you can't be doing any of that stuff. We're all very, 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 very careful that when we know it's an event that's encouraging like a family-friendly atmosphere, everything is tailored to that.
Yeah.
Because we're not here to corrupt and steal your children and turn everybody into a drag queen and blah, 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 whatever.
What are they always calling us? Groomers? Like that, that Hooter stunt sounds more like a groomers thing than anything. I mean, and sexualizing stuff, that is all sex. The second that you walk into Hooters, it's all about sex. I just don't get it. They have an issue with our community. It's not anything to do with a drag queen dressing up and reading a freaking story. You guys are just idiots.
But they're also trying to please the conservatives, and that's at the end of the day to get money and to get votes. At the end of the day, it's we are pandering to these radically religious people who think like God made Adam and Eve and not Adam and Steve, yada yada yada. That whole like line of bullshit, you know how that is. So at the end of the day, is it about, do they even really like hate us, or are we just a convenient target to use to show people that they stand for like good old-fashioned American values and this and the other thing?
No, it totally is. It's like, squirrel, look away. No, you know, 19 kids weren't just killed in Texas. No, we're not going to talk about gun reform. No, we're going to go after LGBTQ.
That part. Let's talk about that part, because 20 people get just blown away with a gun, right? People are talking about gun reform. And then what do you see on the news? You see this absolute horseshit with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
Oh my goodness.
And you hear, I'm not even gonna, don't get me started on that shit, because it's very much like
I feel bad for her.
They said,
I feel bad for her. I mean, how is it that those people would go home and not look at social media? Are you freaking kidding me? That's kind of impossible.
They said, oh, the Me Too movement, case closed. Goodbye.
Garbage.
And that's exactly what that whole three-ring circus was about. Let's show that we can't have women having power. We can't have women talking about like the horrible things that have happened to them. Nope. Sorry. Nope. Sorry. Goodbye.
Nope.
Book closed on that.
That's it.
Bury that. And let's demonize this woman who suffered abuse. But like I said, that's a different topic. But all of these shootings have been happening, and the news is focusing on
trans children wanting to play sports, or demonizing drag queens
and the LGBTQ plus community as a whole. Like,
and that's where we're at right now, Damien. And I don't think it's going to get any better anytime soon. And this is where we're at. This is the U.S. You know, this is not the Ukraine, where horrible things are happening right now to our people as well. Okay, let's move on. I got another great story for you. Wait till you hear this one. So recently at a Target, I'm not even going to call it Target because it was in Montana. So you just get Target. Target in Montana, several children's books were found containing anti-LGBTQ plus stickers. The stickers said things like 78% of homosexuals have STDs, sexually transmitted diseases. Target has issued a statement that they take the issue very seriously and will be investigating. Kiki number 3, what in the living F? Stickers in kids' books? Really? What are we all talking about? What do you think, Damien?
Someone's got a lot of free time. Did this happen at a lot of different targets or just one?
I think it was just one target.
For someone to take time out of their day and say, like, what do I have to do today? I mean, I should go to the bank.
I got to pick up some dry cleaning.
I've got, like, I
Gotta get
need
gas.
groceries, but let me go put a bunch of nasty stickers at Target first.
In children's books. Yeah.
And we come right back to the grooming conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Here is grooming children to hate a group of people.
Kids don't have any maliciousness in them. They're taught that.
And they'll believe anything.
And they'll believe that because you're the higher power, basically, to the kid. You know it, or you know everything because you're the adult. So they take you for face value, for fact. This is an orange. It's an orange because you said it's an orange. If somebody tells me it's a lemon, no. My father or mother or brother told me it was an orange.
Yeah. Yeah, and if it's in a book, forget about it.
So can you imagine a little kid just like looking through a book, like a little bear book or something, and just like turning it over and then finding the sticker, Mommy, what is this? Gay people have STDs. What does that mean?
Yeah, well, why should a kid even know what that means? Like if these are in children's books?
Yeah, you're not letting them in on some secret, idiots. What you're doing is you're messing up a kid's childhood. You're not allowing them to be kids.
And you're talking to kids about sex.
And you're sexualizing it, which is, again,
we're the monsters.
Which we're always attacked for.
It's like the hypocrisy is staggering.
Staggering.
Absolutely staggering. And I hear things like this and I'm like, I feel like I'm watching an SNL skit or something. Because it's just it's
one of those,
wild.
the SNL skits, like back during that time when Saturday Night Live wasn't funny. You guys remember that, right? Those skits that like lasted a long time, and I was like, oh God, you guys aren't funny anymore. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Like it's a never-ending skit.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Next up, Damien, we are gay after all. So let's talk about some fun things that will get us through the week. The radical religious crazy, they call it queer as a negative. Governor Ron DeSantis calls it don't say gay. At the FayWhat show, we call it the gay agenda. First, Hilton Wolman. Oh, he throws like all the best parties in my life. Like the first white party I went to, I think was one of Holman's parties, and it was just incredible. I think I had a permanent hickey for like 4 months. Anyway, Hilton Wolman's world famous Urge Miami circuit parties are celebrating the 4th of July weekend with 2 great parties. First is the Rain Wet Party on July 2nd, featuring DJs Dan Slater and Orel Sabag. Oh my God, they're both so hot. Like this gentleman always has like the best looking DJs ever, like in the history of ever. Thank you, Hilton, for that. So I think I showed you a picture of Dan Slater. Tell me that he's not like yumminess.
I mean, all of these guys that you showed me that are the DJs for this event are super, super hot.
Right? And like, yeah, ridiculously hot. And and Dan is like, at least a few times, because I said his name like that, like if I know him. And Dan, right? And so the 2 times that I've been able to be part of an interview with him, he seems so humble and so down to earth.
Love that.
But it's really hard to listen to him because you're just so blown away by just how freaking hot he is. Yeah, I said it. Anyway, then the second party is called the Indepen DNCE on July 3rd, and that features DJ Flor, who is super pretty as well. You saw the picture of her with the fan. I love it. And Aron, who is also another hottie with the hairy chest. The party starts at 10 p.m. and goes all night long. Event number 1, Urge Miami celebrates 2 great parties for 4th of July weekend, the gay agenda. What do we love about this?
See, we're really smart to talk about all the bad shit first, because then we have all this like sexy fun stuff to talk about afterwards.
Yep.
And it's like I almost forgot the trauma from a couple minutes ago. So thank you.
I love it. I love it. We're like Dory. We forget. Like, oh, what was I? What's going on? What's going on? Yeah.
No, but big time though. Yeah, for real.
But this is going to be a fun weekend. I can't believe the 4th of July is already in a couple days. Like, I can't get over that. Like, where did the year go? We're already going to be in July.
It's wild. I feel like the pandemic changed the passage of time. Like things move in a different way now.
Mm-hmm.
Either that or I'm just like finally going senile.
Maybe we are. Maybe we're both going senile. We've been through, we've been through so much trauma at this point. But, 4th of July, like fireworks are one of my favorite things in the world. And I love 4th of July because it means like barbecuing and it means partying at night. And, these DJs are top notch and Holman doesn't play around. I heard that they're going to have, what is it?
The jacuzzis.
The jacuzzis. They're going to have jacuzzis at this party. Now, I'm a stickler for germs, so I might not get in, but I will be happy to watch any of you gorgeous gay boys in the hot tubs.
That sounds very fierce.
Right?
That sounds very fierce.
I just imagine some of my gay boys. Like I have some really fun gay boys, like Dennis and Tito. I could just imagine them like in the hot tub, like taking off their trunks and like throwing it out to people. And
Absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely.
I'll be there taking pictures. Next, he's furry, he's funny, and he's flaming. The two-time Emmy Award winner, Bruce Vilanch, is coming to Wilton Manors. He's won awards as a writer for the Oscars, Emmys, Tonys, Hollywood Squares, and more. And he'll be at Lip Bar on July 4th at 8 p.m. This special comedy concert is sure to sell out fast, so make sure to buy your tickets in advance. Event number 2, the legendary Bruce Vilanch comes to Lip Bar for the 4th of July. The gay agenda. What do we love about this?
I mean, comedy is always great. Even bad comedy is fun to watch sometimes.
Have you seen Bruce's? Do you know who Bruce is? Bruce Vilanch?
So I've heard the name, and I've like when I saw his picture, I was like, oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
we've seen his face like everywhere, and not really been able to to pinpoint where. Like the Hollywood Squares time, he was the writer that made it happen. And Hollywood Squares was a cool little TV show, game show that everybody used to love, and the celebrities would be on it. And he's a funny dude. He has been gay and out before it was okay to be gay and out. That's so for him, I love the fact that he's coming to Wilton Manors. This show is definitely going to sell out for 4th of July, especially with all the people that we have in town visiting during 4th of July. But also, big shout out to Lip Bar. Like they have really brought it. Peter Basuito is the entertainment director over there. He's been in our bed, and and he said, we are going to bring some incredible comedy. We want to laugh again. We want to say that it's okay to laugh again. We want to say gay from the top of our lungs, and he's doing it and doing it and doing it. And I'm really excited about this comedy show. And like I said, it's going to sell out and it's going to be a lot of fun. 4th of July down here is going to be where to be for sure.
Absolutely.
Finally, it's the first Saturday of the month, so it's time to get steamy and sexy at Ramrod for their world-famous pig dance. Music will be by South Florida music producer and DJ Bryan Reyes, who has been bringing house beats to some of the top clubs in the area for decades. Event number 4, celebrate your kinky side and dance the night away at Ramrod's Pig Dance. The gay agenda. What do we love about this? Remember when I didn't know what a pig dance was?
Yes.
I've learned so much laying in bed with you.
And see, here it is. Pig dance.
I love Ramrod for just being true to who they are. They
are authentic.
You know what you're going to get when you go there, aside from fantastic music and the cheapest drinks like ever in life. Like when my gay boys come to visit, I send them there. So I'm like, oh, you're on a budget? Go to Ramrod. You're going to have a blast, and it's not going to break the bank.
And the music is good.
The music is phenomenal. And did you see them at Stonewall Pride 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
They had the biggest float, and it was a big pink pig.
They have definitely branded themselves successfully.
I love Ramrod. Thank you, Ramrod, for all you do. Well, it's what we will be all talking about this weekend, the events that we want to attend. I got to thank my man, Mr. Damian Lenore, for getting up early for the FayWhat show. And remember, make sure to follow him on Instagram at Return of Babylon. He's always doing something interesting and fun and without clothes a lot of the time. Anyway, Damian, I know how hard it is for you to wake up in the morning because gay boys sleep late. I love you, darling.
I love you too.
Go back to sleep. Next up, I'm joined by the beautiful and amazing Mayra Hidalgo Salazar. Next up, let's welcome Mayra Hidalgo Salazar. Yeah, I know she looks familiar. She was actually on the very first FayWhat show. Mayra is the Deputy Executive Director of the National LGBTQ Task Force, an organization that advances full freedom, justice, and equality for LGBTQ plus people. Originally an undocumented immigrant from Costa Rica, she has become an integral part of the community. In 2010, at age 17, Mayra served as a campaign manager for the Trail of Dreams, a walk for immigrant justice from Miami to the nation's capital that demanded then President Obama stop deportations. She has continued the fight for equality for immigrants and minorities ever since and has been kicking ass all the way. Welcome back, Miss Mayra. How are you, mamita?
Oh my God, I'm so good. I'm a little sleepy.
I know.
So
well, it is
perfect.
It is early in the morning. I try to give her a double cortadito, which all you people know from Miami is like crack.
I need
And
4.
it's helped a little, and that's what she asked. She asked for 2 more, so
Yeah.
like a good Latina. I want more, never enough.
I just
never
don't
enough.
feel the 2. I'm just like, that's the warm up.
That's the pregame when it comes to a real Latina with some coffee. Oh my God. So Mayra, I haven't seen you in a while, Mama. Our first FayWhat show was back in January, and you and the beautiful Miss Kira Johnson were with us bright and early in the morning, and we tackled a lot of stuff, man. That was like when Chappelle was really in the
It
news.
was a roller coaster of an interview.
Oh my God, we cried, we laughed.
It really was.
Like, it was like, this is a lot of emotions into it, you know, it's just as girls, it was supposed to be like fun. Let's talk about shoes and freaking, you know.
I'm a Cancer.
and nail polish.
I'm a Cancer. I'm a Cancerian.
And we went all out on it. And now you're back. When I found out that you were going to be in town working on Queer the Vote, which is we'll get to in a second, I was like, girl, you got to come. And where else did I see you? I saw you at the LGBTQ plus task force kickoff, also in Miami, looking beautiful and svelte.
Thank you.
If you go to my social media pages, I took like about 843 pictures with Mayra.
Me bañé.
You know, but
me tocó baño.
she looked beautiful, and I needed some extra pictures. That's all, you know. So I knew that I needed to get you back on the show. God, so much going on right now. I mean, so much going on and so much coming at us. You know, all these anti-trans bills. You know, our governor. Like, I have to say that you're kind of local. You don't live here, but your family is down here, so you know all the crap that our governor has been putting us through, and you feel our pain.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I'm between Brooklyn and Florida recently, and I grew up in Florida. This is where I learned how to organize.
Yeah.
I grew up in Polk County, Florida, which is in between Orlando and Tampa.
Isn't that very Trumper
It is
area?
the boonies. Oh yeah, it's Trump area, and I think a lot of this national rhetoric, right, that became that occupied the national stage, during Trump's presidency. Like, I grew up around people who, like, where that was the conditions I organized through, right?
Yeah.
So I think, though the rhetoric will never stop being shocking, at least for me, like, I'm like, I went to school with these people. I like kind of know in many ways how they think, and I had to learn how to organize in that context.
But that was before, when you were learning to organize as a youngin', because you started freaking early. At
like
17, you were already like helping our community. God bless you. At 17, I was like, what are poppers? And so that was before, I think, Trump gave them permission to be out and proud in their own right of their hatred.
Yeah, and I mean, it was the biggest, to see so many people be in support of his policies. These are people that, sometimes would come after school to my house and work on like projects. And my mom was always, she's amazing. I call her Mayra la Original. I'm named after her.
Hi, the OG Mayra.
She's the OG. She was like, always welcomed them in her home, was always kind, make sure like they had food, and to like see on Facebook, these are like some of the people that voted for Trump. I was like, oh wow, like there is a huge disconnect. I think there has to be a huge disconnect between the world they're living and like the world I'm living in. And I think I'm always trying to figure out like, what is the bridge, and also like, what is the bridge I want to cross, and what is the bridge I want to burn down?
Oh my God. And sometimes
I'm like,
and sometimes it's the same bridge. Sometimes it's like, let me get across the bridge and then burn that out, because the hatred of people has come to light in such a way, especially to our community.
It's super polarized right now. I think a lot of folks in our community are being rudely awakened. Right? I think there's those of us who got very comfortable after marriage equality.
Yeah, no, there's many people that I told you privately that I've got friends that once equality, once our rights were given, they were like, I'm done. I don't have to do anymore. And it's not the case. Like,
it isn't. It's a fight that never stops. And with the draft, with the leak, right? With B. Wade, like,
I thought that was untouchable. Like, how crazy is that? That I thought that was untouchable.
There's something, and I mean, there is something about SCOTUS, I think, in our own imaginary that just rings as like this like beacon of justice, and we're seeing every day that that's being like chipped at, and what the precedent, what precedent that represents for the SCOTUS wins that have given the LGBTQ community the protections we have is like really glaring.
Yeah.
I think these moments are like their litmus test, right?
Yeah.
For, when someone's like, I'm not gonna punch you yet, but I'm gonna like.
Let me see what you do.
Let me see what happens.
Let me see how far I can push you.
And I really hope it serves as like a moment of awakening for folks in our community.
I sure hope so. But you've been screaming this. Kathy Renna has been screaming this since the beginning of the year. Like, hey guys, no, I'm serious. They're coming for us. You know. President Biden has said, hey, they're coming for you. Your rights are next, you know? And that still doesn't waken some people to the reality that they're coming for us, you know? I don't want my wife to be my roommate, you know?
We don't want to go back
we don't want to go backwards, but it sure feels like we are everywhere, okay? LGBTQ plus is everywhere. We're so freaking fabulous that we're on all your TVs, we're in all your magazines, we're on all your social media, we're the TikTok people that you follow, we're the influencers that you love, yet we are up to lose our rights. Like, how is it even possible? It's Pride Month. We're everywhere. Every stupid ass organization has a rainbow on their logo right now. Yet behind closed doors, they're giving millions of dollars to anti-LGBTQ plus organizations. What are we supposed to be doing, Mayra?
I mean, I think this is like the nuance of us being so highly visible, yet not exercising the political power we really should be exercising, right? Like, it's one thing for public opinion in the polls to be in support of access to abortion and support of LGBTQ people, and it's another thing for us to actually deliver a political punch that is reflective of that public opinion.
And the other side is not holding any punches. They're not holding back. They're using their numbers. They're playing dirty.
And they're going after children.
Yeah.
They're going after our babies, right?
Yeah. Like, I'm so afraid of when, you know, the new Trevor Project results come back out. Like, my heart breaks for those children that are in homes that they're not, you know, they're not living their true authentic self. And then they will turn on the news and it's like, Mommy, Daddy, why does everybody hate us? Why does everybody want us to be silent?
You know, there needs to be, there's so much wisdom, I think, in our movements. I mean, first of all, the LGBTQ movement is so intergenerational. And when I say that, it's just like we've had to build our own families. We've had to find our own mothers, some of us, our own fathers.
Yes.
We've had to find our own femtors and mentors. And I think it's like a moment where those of us who have like lived to be of a certain age, right? To really make sure we're showing up, right? A lot of our ways of being feel matter of fact because we're just living our life. And for like a young person, to see someone like that is like, I don't know, in a relationship, like has a home, has like somewhat of a normal life,
stability,
that can like
family,
that can breathe, I think, life into a lot of young people. And there's a lot for us to do in terms of making sure that all of us are being organized, and it doesn't always look like, you know, showing up to the marches, which if you can show up to the marches, show up to the marches. But the beautiful thing about organizing now is that everyone has a role, right? Whether it's donating, whether it's uplifting shows like FayWhat, or making sure that like you're just in community with like younger queers who are feeling the darkness, the heaviness of this moment. I think all of those are concrete actions we can take, and of course voting. If you have the right to vote, please vote. Please vote.
So let's talk about Queer the Vote. I know that you were down here working on that. What's up with that? How can we spread that?
Absolutely. So, you know, the task force, we're driving Queer the Vote. On the national level, Florida is one of our target states, and then also hyper-focused on the counties of Polk and Hillsborough. We're really looking at some school board races there. We think it's going to be an important part of mitigating the harm around Don't Say Gay, and also identifying where we can build that long-term political power, because all Floridians know that I-4 corridor is key, right? Especially when it comes not just for midterms, but for presidentials. And I'm like, how can we make sure all of these young folks who are being politicized in this moment, who are walking across the stage, like, you know, the same year Don't Say Gay was passed, that they're registered to vote, and that they are like, not just activated politically, but in community, right? Because that's always like, that has always been the medicine. I think that's gotten a lot of us through hard times, is being in community, making sure that we are having a space to like heal with other people that like love and accept us.
Not the easiest thing. It sounds easy, you know, love is love and all that, but it really, we need more of us representing us in positions. And that's hard. You know, somebody that I love and someone that you know also, Michelle Rayner, I love her. I mean, that bitch is a powerhouse. I mean, I don't mean to call her in any way. Like, she is an incredible, strong, powerful woman. And, you know, when she talks, it's just like, yes, let's do this. When she dropped out of her race, I understood why.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like, and my first thought was, coño, you know, like, damn it. Like, why are we're losing this phenomenal person? But I understood that there was no way that she was going to win. How do we tell somebody else that maybe sees in the future of running that they can do it, that there is a possibility of winning?
There's a possibility of winning, and also like really expanding what our idea is of winning. Of course, we want to get our folks elected into office, and like we have to understand that like the change that it takes to get there may be 2 or 3 races, right?
Yeah.
It takes a long time.
And it takes a lot of money, though.
It takes money. It takes the ability to fundraise. And we're very lucky in that we do have people in our community who are in a position to give. Really, all of us should be giving in some way. And like, again, that's the place I talk about where everyone has a role, whether you're like a donor, like making a gift is a form of taking action, right?
Yeah.
And so what I would say is to like make sure that you're surrounding yourself by like folks in your community who are ready to like go all in with you, because none of us can do this alone.
No.
And there's folks, you know, I think I'm in a place where I feel very like all in. Like, I'm just like, tell me where I need to go, where I need to be, dispatch
And I'm there.
Because the house is on fire.
Put me in, coach.
Do it.
If I knew anything about sports references, that was it. Put me in, coach. But you
You're
are
like,
doing
I'm not that kind of lesbian.
When, you know, when DACA was a thing, you were screaming from the highest mountains, like, come on.
DACA's 10-year anniversary or birthday was yesterday.
Oh, wow.
You know, and even before that, that was, oh my God, that was a policy that took over 10 years of organizing, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, also it was a victory in our movement that was led by undocumented LGBTQ young people.
Yep.
I don't think it's a coincidence
No,
that
it's
like
not.
the queer people within the undocumented youth movement were the ones pushing the envelope. We were the ones coming out of the shadows, not just as undocumented, but also as queer at a time when immigration didn't even recognize same-sex marriage. I mean, think about the implications of that.
The courage.
Like you're pretty much cutting off your.
You're putting
your
yourself
ability-
out there.
Yeah. 100%.
And then you get a Trumpster that wants to close, you know, send you back to your country that you've never even stepped foot.
that I left when I was 6 months old.
Exactly.
Right.
You know. Oh my goodness.
And again, like I think those moments are like testaments to like I think the power of organizing. But what can't be lost is that it took time. It took a lot of people really coming together and taking risks. Like, oh my God, I remember those days. Like getting on a bus to DC, not knowing where I was gonna sleep, not like we were just in it.
Yeah.
Because like our current existence was unbearable. And what I don't want is for something like that to happen to LGBTQ people, for us to feel that urgency. Like, it's now.
Yeah. No, it is now. It is now. Why is it that we need to get like our arms cut off for us to go, okay, it's now. We have to do this. We have to align everything. Like, I mean, shit's scary right now, Mayra.
Folks are exhausted. Things are scary, and I think people have real fatigue from these past 2 years. I think there's a lot of folks that haven't wanted to like take their heads out of the sand. We haven't fully recovered from Trump, and like, if we're not at the table, we're on the menu.
Wow. Did you hear that? I hope that they wrote that down at the bottom of the screen
It
because
is,
wow.
it is absolutely.
It's the truth though.
Yeah.
It's Pride Month. Anything different? Do you feel anything different from this Pride Month than from past Pride Month?
Biden just signed this executive order, and I was at the White House yesterday for the Pride event. I have to say I'm underwhelmed by the it's just lack of concrete action, right? I think absolutely the rhetoric has changed. I think even the fact that there's a Pride event at the White House this year, I mean, come on, it wasn't even.
Yeah, Melania was too busy, messing up all the roses to even think about Pride before.
Yeah, it wasn't even, and like, when you look line by line at this executive order, I'm like, how is this actually transforming the lives of LGBTQ people in these states that are on fire?
Yeah.
How is this protecting trans kids and also their parents who are trying to like show up as parents and affirm them.
What is it, the story that's been in the news lately about banning kids from drag shows?
Which is like
I don't want to laugh because it's serious crap.
I mean,
it really is an attack.
Unfortunately,
But come on.
Like, drag queens, y'all just don't want to have fun. Like, I'm just convinced you just
drag queens have been at the forefront of anything fun and sad on LGBTQ from the beginning of time. That is just, Look, you can go to Hooters every once in a while. I like myself a good wing, right?
Yeah, and that's what we all go to Hooters for.
Yeah, and nothing to do with the fact that girl has a wonderful ass. Anyway, except that one time I went to one and they had pregnant women as servers. That was weird.
Some people
that was
are into
weird.
it.
And
some
that's what I
like
thought. I go, some people like that, so go for yours. Hooters. Anyway, so I remember there was a time that I went to Hooters and a friend of mine brought their kid, like around the same age as your nephew, adorable little Kevin, and it was his birthday. And these Hooters girls put him on a table with a chair, put 2 balloons as boobs down his shirt and made a big spectacle of him and rubbed their boobs all over this little kid. How is that okay?
And then you're out here banning drag queens.
Banning kids at a drag, if the parent wants to bring their kid wherever the parent wants to bring the kid, she should be allowed to. Obviously, within reason, you're not taking them to Ramrod. If you live down here in South Florida, you know Ramrod is a wonderful place where a lot of my gay boys enjoy. And there may be a hole here and there that you might not want to put your eye to. Okay. But seriously, like, I've got a wonderful friend and I interviewed her last week. Her name is Misty Eyes and she's a beautiful drag queen, and she does at My Hollywood Pride and other Pride, she will do a story hour. And she's dressed to the nine. I'm going to show you guys a picture at home, and all the kids are sitting around her while she's reading a wonderful book about inclusivity and being okay, being who you are.
Those kids just, it's not difficult to explain these things to children. Like, I feel like the far right tries to formulate this narrative around it where you're confusing kids. My one of my best friends is a trans woman. She was gonna come visit me, and I just talked to Kevincito. I'm like, okay, she's trans, and I explained to him what trans was, and I'm like, she's a trans woman, and he's like, oh, so she's a woman.
And that's it.
It was literally the end of the conversation.
And that was it. Look, I get, I get so many older people. Oh, I can't do the they them. You don't understand. It doesn't fit my grammar. As someone I'm Puerto Rican Colombian, my grammar sucks as it is, right? Yeah. But mind you, I have an 11-year-old, that's a kid of a good friend of mine, and the same thing. It was like they go by they them pronouns. Okay, fine, pim. There was not even another question about it. We never had another conversation. It was just so done. Simple. It was like, all right.
So simple.
Listed and done. I was like, why can't adults get this then?
And I mean, and that just points, it's not a coincidence that they're going after young LGBTQ people. We're in a moment where LGBTQ people are coming out at younger and younger ages. This is a testament to, I think, the work the task force, the whole movement has done.
You have made it safer.
Raising visibility, and we've also shown the power we have at the polls, right? And influencing races that are marginal. Mm-hmm. So I think it's actually very strategic of the right to think of the best way to stomp this out is by attacking young LGBTQ people's sense of self, their self-esteem, their access to a community,
their worth,
their self-worth. And I think it's really sad. And if you think about it, it's oh, this is actually because we've been winning, right? That they're coming at us with this, with these attacks. And, all I have to say is that I think we're really going to have to go back to the basics as a movement, basic organizing 101, starting
knocking on doors,
school board knocking on doors. And, I know people in Florida, y'all never close down. You have no excuse not to knock on people's doors. Come on, you never.
None. Down here it was COVID what?
I'm don't come at. I know,
Please.
Come on. This is, our folks are on fire. And the reality is that Florida is an incubator for bad bills.
Oh my God.
Florida is an incubator for bad bills across the country. And what we allow to happen here doesn't just stay here.
Other people look at it and go, oh, if Florida did it, then we can do it too.
God. Or they're just you're from Florida.
Or you're from Florida. That's what they say a lot. If people did God, 2% of what you do, Mayra. I mean, because, you know, we'd be in a better place right now. You know, you do so much, and that's why they want you in so many places, because your little self is such a wonderful representation. She's little, but she talks very big.
I'm 4'11".
So understand, in bed, everybody's the same height. Yeah. 4'11", 5'11".
No, what is it? My toxic trait is that I forget I'm like 4'11". I literally forget I'm short, and I'm like, oh, what is, oh, it's just.
But you know, no, but you're short, whatever. But your voice carries. Your voice is loud. Your voice makes an impact. People listen to you, Mayra, and I say thank you for that. You know, just next week, or no, at the end of this week, because this show is gonna, this show is the 20th. You are gonna be, you're gonna be talking at New York's Pride.
I know. Oh my God. The New York City Pride rally.
Which is like, folks at home, you know, you guys have been to New York Pride. If you haven't, put it on your bucket list. It's like the #1 Pride. Is just, I've been to many prides in the US, and by far it is up there with the best. Chicago is up there too. Incredible stuff what they do. But yeah, you're going to be at the rally Friday. Mm-hmm. And are you ready? I mean, this rally is like attended, and especially this year, it's going to be
really
massive.
Excited. I'm so excited. I mean, Kathy Renna, honestly, shout out to Kathy Renna, lesbian legend.
For sure.
And she's really behind what made this happen. And I'm just so grateful, because I think like any space we get to speak to our larger community and really, I want to move something inside of them to not just think about Pride as like celebration that we like protest. Do once a month. Yeah. There's a real history to this. There's a protest to this. And also like what a huge opportunity for us to like reconvene and like think about the political power we have, not just in like voting, but like the joy we bring, the like the dancing, all of like the deliciousness. So I'm really excited, and I have to center myself for it, because it feels big. It feels like a big deal.
Okay, I'm trying to minimize it, but it is big. Are you like, when I saw you at the task force kickoff, I'm like, do you know what you're gonna say? You're like, I have a bullet point here and there, not really. I'm like, what? You know? And then she sat there and did like a 5-minute PowerPoint presentation. I was just like, wow, blown away. So for this, you're gonna prepare a little.
Yes, I gotta prepare. I gotta put on makeup. I gotta, you know,
you're gonna look wonderful.
Yeah,
you're gonna look wonderful.
Thank you.
Task force is going to be coming in a couple of months. You know, what should we be doing for the task force, especially now more than ever?
Well, I think first thing is you need to visit our website and look for our Queer the Vote materials. Please use our texting system. I can have FayWhat drop it here at the bottom. But join our texting system, because we're going to be hitting you up to take action, whether it's knocking on doors, whether it's donating.
If it's money, listen, you don't need that extra pair of shoes, or, you know, tell somebody else to buy the poppers next weekend.
And maybe you don't have to leave your house. Literally, if you just want to set aside your lunchtime for, this is the time I'm going to be making calls, because that's what we're going to need. Yeah. Right. And so visit our website, follow us on social media, and we'll make sure you're plugged in for Queer the Vote, because we can't do this alone.
We can't do this alone. We need all of us, and we can't continue to allow these conversations to happen, like nothing about us without us, right? Yeah. So join us. Yeah, we will not be silenced. And you know, we're viejas. Okay, we can deal with what's going on, but the kids, man, that's just not cool. Yeah, it just isn't. Mayra, thank you for being in bed with me again. Thank you for being in bed for the first time. That may be a fact, it might not be a fact. Mayra, thank you for all you do, Mama. Listen, if we can clone you, that would be like incredible.
I'm trying to figure it out. Let me know, because
I'm trying to. If you turn around and I cut a piece of your hair, don't be alarmed. It's just something I'm trying to work on with the santeras over in Hialeah. We'll make it happen.
Please, I need all the help I can get. So.
Make sure that you come back on the show sometime.
I will.
Yes?
I will.
All right, Mayra Hidalgo Salazar. Incredible. She is one of the good guys. Make sure that you follow her on social media and help the LGBTQ+ National Task Force. They are out there fighting for us. And this year, man, we need all the help we can get. Okay, so get your shit right. Get your friends in line. Make sure everybody's registered to vote. If they need rides getting to vote, make it happen. Do whatever needs to be done, because it's all hands on deck this year, for sure. Mayra, thank you, Mama.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayra, for joining me in bed. I've been waiting for that forever, girl. So the FayWhat show is filmed at our permanent set at the Happening Out television studios on the campus of Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church. Happening Out broadcasts the live Sunday services every week at 10:30 a.m. as part of that partnership. Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church. Watch this.
G'day everyone, I'm Australian cellist James Clark and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
Is our community important to you? If it is, I hope you will share this experience. Please like the FayWhat show on YouTube or Facebook. And huge news, you should be watching the FayWhat show on broadcast television. In addition to social media platforms, you can tune in on Roku, Apple TV, Google TV, or Amazon Fire TV. I want you to support me in this endeavor. So before I finish, I want to tell you what I have been thinking about. We call it Faye, what's on my mind? So last time I was in New York visiting family, I saw in a building spray painted, "No pride for some of us without liberation for all of us." So those words were spoken by the one, the only Marsha P. Johnson, the foremother of the LGBTQ plus rights movement. For years, I never really stopped to internalize Marsha's message. I regret it now, like for real. It shouldn't be news to anyone that conditions have gotten increasingly dire for much of the LGBTQ plus community over the last few years. Back in February, Texas Governor Greg Abbott directed state agencies to investigate gender-affirming care for trans youth as child abuse. Also this year in Ohio, an amendment to a bill was proposed to allow more or less anyone to question and demand proof of a student athlete's gender. While just recently, 31 members of a white supremacist group were arrested in a U-Haul packed with riot gear on their way to a pride event in Idaho. So let's be clear on one point. Despite the advances made with gay marriage and adoption over the past decade, trans people, and particularly trans people of color, have warned the larger LGBTQ plus community about all of this crap for years, almost prophesizing that rampant transphobia would end up spilling over into general homophobia if allowed, if it allowed to remain unchecked. And as a white-presenting femme, Latina, cisgender lesbian, the fact that I'm suddenly less comfortable attending a drag show or holding my Cuban's hand in public feels like ridiculous ignorance. Things have more or less always been this bad for our community, just maybe not for me. My shame over allowing my privilege to hold me back from acting sooner in defense of my community is real. But to be honest, it's not structurally useful to anyone, including myself. I learned only a few years ago that the best way to reckon with white-presenting guilt is to simply shut up, educate yourself to the best of your ability, and materially support the people and organizations fighting for the rights of marginalized people everywhere. All that said, there's still pride to deal with. June is supposed to be a month devoted to the survival and joy of the LGBTQ plus community. But ever since I started attending pride celebrations as a newly out baby femme in my early 20s, my focus has always been on the joy of it all, partying and sweating it up. And, I sang and I cried from sheer joy at the San Francisco Dyke March, tossed back a bunch of alcohol and got into a lot of trouble. Yeah, professionally and personally. But fast forward to now, I can't help but be angry when trying to understand the ongoing ever-climbing profit margin of rainbow capitalism, while my community is still being harassed, targeted, and hunted down. Oh, so queer and trans people are good enough to make money off all June long, but not good enough to be protected at any level of government. Maybe it's okay to let anger and discomfort overwhelm me during Pride, though. After all, this month was never intended to be comfortable. The first Pride was a riot, after all, and the legacy of AIDS activist Larry Kramer looms big, reminding those of us queer folk who enjoy a bit of ease and comfort to keep fighting, keep pushing the barriers, keep shouting, keep making ourselves heard on behalf of those who do not. I may never feel fully comfortable at Pride events sponsored by a DoorDash or something like that, but is that the ultimate goal? Is that the point of Pride for people like me, to get cozy enough to forget its radical origins? Or should we be pooling our energy and our resources and our rage to protect the most marginalized members of our community? Not just when we're all under attack, but 100% of the time, like all the time. Now it's up to us, the inheritors of the powerful legacies of those who came before us, to do more. We've got to do more. Until next time, until next Monday at 9 a.m. live or anytime on demand. I'm FayWhat, and I am #thatgirl. Love you guys. Have a great week.
Rainbows, gay boys, #thatgirl. Sunbeams, drag queens, L-word. Is that girl the girl of all our dreams? She's everything that every girl should be. Aqua, South Beach, #thatgirl. Pride-filled tea dance, Wilton. Is that girl Latina, but she's you?
So, did you enjoy the show? I know you did. So make sure to click subscribe so you won't miss any of the events, news, or interviews right here on the FayWhat show. Ring the bell at the bottom of the screen, right there, so you'll be alerted every time we're live. You can also click on the Happening Out Television Network logo so you can see all of the shows on the most diverse LGBTQ+ media network. Find out just what we're doing to bring the L and the G together right here on the FayWhat show. Get